I can tell you, honestly, that every day, Joe and I try to think of what is the tone of our show. And is this something we always attempt? No, not every day does the news lend itself to this, but we always attempt to try to do something that will make you...
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Happy.
Clap along if
It might be an uphill battle, though, just because we live in Arizona. Yeah. So according to a new survey, living in Arizona may be the reason you're not as happy as, say, Hawaii. Fair, Joe?
Fair, but hold on, Chris. I saw as part of this study that Scottsdale was named the 10th happiest city in the country. So at least part of Arizona's happy.
That's pretty nice.
I'd like
Depends
to
on where
be-
you are in Scottsdale, though, too.
I'd
right?
like to be in the top 10 in the country in terms of happiness, but
Okay.
but other parts of Arizona,
Yeah.
depending
Sorry,
on
Mesa.
community, environmental factors,
Sorry, Awatuki. Womp womp.
maybe a little more blue.
Oh.
Sad, not
Sorry,
democratic.
Litchfield. You didn't get any. Yeah. So, Arizona as a state ranked right in the middle of the pack. 25th in the country.
That's better than we do for a lot of things.
So how is it that they came to this conclusion? I guess it has to do with a combination, according to what the Wallet Hub survey, of economic, emotional, physical, and social health. They use 30 key metrics from depression and the share of adults feeling productive to income growth and the unemployment rate. So, Joe, give me your gut on this. What is it that we do well, and what is it that we need to work on?
Well, Arizona as a whole does pretty gosh darn well in terms of sunshine. So, and I mean this seriously.
Vitamin D. Yeah.
Not just vitamin D, but compared to a Seattle per se.
Yeah, fair.
You know, your boy, Boss Long,
Yeah.
who's the boss's boss in the
Yeah.
office, he lived up in Seattle for a while, and he told me, he said, I never want to go back there because it's just so gray all the time.
Yeah.
And it bums you out. Arizona, 300 plus days of sunshine. It's tough not to feel good when you've got that kind of sun, and we are entering a period here in Arizona when it's not 115 degrees. So I would say our weather certainly is cause for sunny days.
All right.
What
So
do I think?
environmental factors, good.
Great.
Great.
What do I think we don't do so well?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Could education factor into this? I know Arizona's education is lousy.
It does, but actually, I would have put that under the community factor, and we score better in community. So maybe education drags that down a little bit. But no, community, we do really well. Now, maybe communities weighted differently based on the Wallet Hub survey, but yeah. I would say education probably is certainly someplace that we need to do better. According to what the study says.
And by education, I mean both in terms of teacher satisfaction and also
Student
in terms
success.
of educating students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotional and physical well-being.
Emotional and physical well-being.
Right. We did very poorly on that
Okay.
as a state.
I wonder what that's defined as.
We're fat. Yeah. Physical well-being.
Which
I
surprises
think
me
we know
because,
that.
again, with all that sunshine,
It's too hot to exercise.
I just did 12 miles last night.
I know, but you understand that you and your running habits
Are freakish?
They're the exception. They're not the rule, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Fair.
All right.
But I also feel like our weather in Arizona is conducive to getting 30 minutes a day of exercise.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't.
But are
think
people doing it?
They should be, but no, they don't.
They don't seem to be doing it,
Yeah.
right? And the other thing too, I would also add this: when we talk about physical well-being, let's also remember we're a retirement destination, and so as we have members of our older population, and I think the median age is under 40, but our older population that comes here from elsewhere are coming here because we have a number of great medical facilities,
Sure.
right, and we have a number of retirement areas too. So
Mayo Clinic,
I think
very
that
well known.
they kind of bring some of the physical challenges with them to our state. So I think that may kind of work against us as a whole. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
I'm merely hypothesizing here as to why our physical well-being isn't better.
Certainly does make sense, but I would also argue on the flip side of that, you mentioned we have phenomenal healthcare facilities from Phoenix Children's Hospital, Mayo Clinic. We have some of the best health care
Right.
here in the Valley, too.
Why?
Why do we have it here? Because people come here with
Because we
problems.
need it. Right. Exactly.
But I would argue they're doing a great job making people better.
Right. But people who are dead don't take surveys. So if you have people who are doing better but not dead, they're taking surveys and their physical well-being is going to suffer.
Maybe they're very happy then because they're gone.
It probably worked out really well for places like Louisiana, Mississippi, who ended up at the bottom of the list because, their people just don't get the medical care they need. It actually bumped their ratings up a little bit simply because they died. What about our emotional well-being? Why do you suppose that's suffering? I really don't know the answer to this. All I can do is hypothesize based on my own perspective.
So we just talked with Faye Fredericks from ABC 15 a few minutes ago about their Voice of the Voter series, and she said from Kingman to Flagstaff, she's been in those two cities, economy is a big factor, whether it be the housing up in Flagstaff or the price of just a gallon of gas in Kingman. Just the simple stuff. Going to the grocery store costs more now than it did a couple years ago. And the economy, whether it's trying to find a house or trying to find a place to rent, is getting more expensive all across the state. And we don't have enough of it out there.
What is it that Joe Huizenga likes to do when I make a point, Pablo? Do you know what he likes to do? He likes to
push back.
Push back. I'm going to push back on you a little bit.
Okay.
The top 5 states for happiness.
Hawaii's got to be up there.
Is number 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about the cost of living,
super crazy expensive.
it's the most expensive place to live, other than, I don't know, Nome, Alaska or something where you have to fly everything in.
A lot of pineapples there, though.
You think that helps with their joy?
Oh, has to just overwhelm their
More
joy.
than our citrus trees do here.
You just walk outside, they're like, oh, a pineapple.
How about Maryland? Not cheap living in Maryland.
No.
New Jersey, not cheap, although dirty. And they're happier than us.
Oh, they exported us Gatos.
Which is weird, right?
Oh.
Maybe that's why we're sadder.
Maybe
that's why
so
they're happy. Utah, I always think of Utah as a state that has their stuff together. I always think of Utah as just being like grounded. I don't know why. Maybe you don't, but I always think of Utah as just being very
high
grounded.
morals.
And then Delaware. Delaware, again, East Coast, not a cheap place to be. So when it comes to the economy, I hear your argument to say that maybe people are emotionally unwell and some of that has to do with the stresses of the economy. But my pushback is, wouldn't that affect all states?
Well, I have another theory.
Go on.
And you're right. Could a majority of the people in those states be raking in more cash?
Sure. Yeah. Good point.
And I
so
wonder,
depressed wages here maybe affecting that? Well, it's funny you bring that up because one of the other categories where we were in the bottom half was work environment. So sounds like overworked and underpaid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which you were complaining about just earlier today.
Every day.
Yeah. Pablo, you heard him, right? You wrote that down. I put it in the journal too. I put it in my Joe book.
Not in the notes for HR
I
again.
did. It's in the Joe book.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Joe complaining again. Yeah. So living in Arizona, you got a 50-50 chance of being happy, right? We're right in the middle.
Thanks for watching the Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.